Las Vegas appears to be one of the favorites to be named a hub city in the next couple of weeks as the NHL is moving closer to a return to play. This disruption of the hockey schedule is unusual, but as Steve Blayman found out, it isn't the first time.
When the coronavirus started to spread this spring, the NHL placed its season on pause and cast doubt as to whether it would be able to award the most coveted trophy in sports, the Stanley Cup. In more than 100 years of the National Hockey League, only one season ended without a Stanley Cup champion. Ken Rosen discovered that story while working for the NHL.
About 15 years ago, we were prepping our Stanley Cup playoff campaign and marketing campaign, and I stumbled upon the story just by reading this guide and record book that said in 1919, the Stanley Cup was not handed out. And it fascinated me that no one in this room at the NHL knew why. So I started to research it and came upon the story about a lot of similarities to what's going on now.
The 1919 Stanley Cup Final featured the Montreal Canadiens and the Seattle Metropolitans. It was canceled one game shy of determining a winner due to an outbreak of the Spanish flu. Rosen wrote a novel based off of the events of that series called 1919, The Search for Mankind's Greatest Killer.
The book is based on real events and real people that played in the NHL back in the turn of the last century. The Montreal Canadiens were the team that I focused on because they were the team that got sick and couldn't put a team on the ice.
Joe Hall was one of the Canadiens players stricken with the flu and died 4 days later. He was one of what is estimated to be 50 million people who died worldwide. Rosen's novel continues with a group of scientists determined to figure out what happened and how to prevent it from happening again. He says his research showed devastating pandemics are about a once every 100 years event. And while he hoped he'd never have to live through one himself, the world was far better prepared for the coronavirus than it was when the outbreak started in 1918.
Biggest difference is obviously that we're in a different technological age, medical age, and science age, but the similarities are striking.
And just like back then, sports do go on, even if they have to look different for a little while.
There are pictures in the summer and fall of 1919, when the flu came back again for the third time, where baseball teams are still playing, but every player on the field's got a mask on, every umpire, everybody in the crowd's got a mask on.
101 years later, sports are coming back with their own precautions, largely in empty stadiums and arenas. And while Rosen expects the return of fans to rival the emotions of the country at the first sporting events following 9/11, for now, just the return of the games can be a huge morale boost coming out of a once-in-a-century type of play.
I think we need those things that we love, things that we rely on, things that give us a reason to cheer, be happy, be social. You got to get the country back to feeling where we're coming out of this, we're going to be all right, just like it happened in 1919.